Just a day back, we also huge change in the XRP volume, and we were asking the question, what's happening, right? This is what's happening.
Is that crypto liquidity would eventually be able to support robust global payments, large payments. RippleNet was designed so that customers seeing the benefits of our fiat-based network could flip the switch to ODL once the market was mature enough. And this is exactly what's happening.
XRP did get a lot of volume. And you can actually see like, okay, the market is showing you difference and the market itself is slowly moving back up. And at that point, you can ask like, okay, what are you really looking at? This is exactly what is happening in the market. We've been looking at this, we've been talking about this, and right now it turns out that most likely this is going to be the scenario which is going to come out. Now, not something new we are talking about. If you go back, we've been putting highlight to this stuff from a long time. If you go all the way back last year, 2021 March, we were talking about this. Now we reached the all-time highs. We may consolidate here for some time. Now, personally, I was thinking like maybe 300, 360 days of consolidation. Why? Because we also had something similar here in the last cycle. But it just happens to be like we took even more time. Fine, but the pattern is still the same. So if you're understanding this correctly, you went up, you consolidated, and the consolidation pattern showed like that's around the top, we are going down, but the price eventually got supported at the long-term support. So on a macro chart, testing the long-term support and bouncing from there is super bullish. So right now, you're looking at the entire market. It came lower, it hit that level, and it's slowly bouncing. We tried to break below, but you're looking at the RSI, it's still inside the pattern. The price is still holding. And if you are looking at this in terms of percentage, fine. The total run up and the consolidation last time took 385 days, and the next 390 days you did wave 2 and wave 3. So now you put that same perspective here, you took like 700 days for this. So that kind of means if you're taking the same math here, you're somewhere like 600 days or just above that for wave 2 and wave 3. Now, inside that, you'll still get these consolidations. Inside the last wave, you got the consolidation here, and most likely that's still going to happen. If that is the case in the market, and you're observing these starting to enroll in the market, that is like, okay, it's going to slowly bounce, it's going to continue higher. The first big resistance is going to come after 10x in the market. That is not a small step, because if you're zooming out and asking that question to yourself, like, okay, how long can this actually go? Then that literally is 10x in here, but the macro resistance is way higher. So the market do have a long way to go. And if you are in the right assets, you are going to see those coming in. Now, inside the market, you do have a lot of things unwinding. And if you are listening to this, you already understood like, okay, that's a huge plus point itself. Like that is kind of self-explanatory what Brad is highlighting, and if you've been here for some time, you already know this.
I think it's very clear, and the more that has come out, the facts are on our side, and I think it's very more and more clear the law is on our side. But we have spent, I mean, one of the things when this is all said and done, I mean, we will have spent over $100 million on legal fees fighting the SEC. And the dynamic there is, in my opinion, the SEC bullies companies into settlements because they can't afford to fight. And the reason I think this fight is so important isn't just for Ripple, it's really for the whole industry.
A lot of other companies can't afford to fight SEC like Ripple. And they have that war chest which, even SEC can't break. So they literally can fight and take that out. Facts are on their side. They are on the side of the law. And we just saw what's happening from the court. That does mean something. But, at the same time, you need to understand, like, there are guys who kind of, go out and say this. And while I was listening to this guy, I was so surprised, like, okay, fine. It's not that old, but he's brilliant. And he have created a big technology, a smart contract platform, which is getting adoption, a lot of that and all. I agree. But him coming out and saying this, when, big investors, those who are kind of, at least, in my opinion, more reputable than that particular guy, is talking about this. So if you understand what really went wrong in the market, it was all it. It was all it. That's one of the key stuff here. If you are looking at this, you will understand that. As soon as they highlighted that they are going to delay the merge, the price here dropped. So they changed to proof of stake, delayed, and that caused a lot of institutions who borrowed money against that and put these tokens as collateral got hit because their collateral just went down and they needed to put more money in. So this particular guy calling XRP communist is actually doing more harm to the entire ecosystem. Now, this is from Vanek. If you know them, you already understand that. Okay, fine. They won't just put out data just for putting out the data. They do their research and then put this one out. And this is head of their digital assets research putting this one out. If you are reading through this, you kind of get that idea. Okay. They are bullish and they kind of give you the same here. The same dynamic may play out for Ethereum if our bull thesis is proved correct. So right now, the market is going to go higher. You are going to see that. And you come to another research report here and you're like, okay, fine. Which we believe will survive and take share through the downturn. So you are looking at the layer 1 protocols. Now, XRP is not named here, but you have others which are really competing against Ether and they think it's going to survive and take the market share. Now, if you continue on, you're going to get a lot of different ideas from this, which is simply, okay, XRP is not here only because it doesn't have the regulatory clarity for them to jump on this. Once we have that, all of these guys are going to go heavy on this back because for me, that's the best layer 1 solution which can take in all other stuff inside, which touches payment. That's a huge change. I know the market is down and people are asking like, no, my portfolio is down. These are not actually showing in my portfolio. Now that's something same this guy is saying. The market is down, but when it is down, they believe that some of them will be outperforming. Why? Because they have the fundamentals. So if you are looking at that, you can literally understand, okay, something is working fine. They are looking at smart contract platform. They are looking at exchange tokens. They are looking all of this stuff and saying, okay, we are kind of bullish on these. Now, that kind of comes out at a time when we are all slowing down and then these guys are kind of pushing the date again and again and again. Now that's happening from a very long time and this guy comes out and calls XRP communist. Fine. They can change whatever they are saying every now and then and they're kind of taunting XRP as an asset and Ripple as a company because they are being pursued by SEC. Now we all know what's happening behind SEC case and how that's happening. And if that guy is going to delay again and again and again, this is gonna come back and hit them. That's for sure. You know, they staying in proof of work, mining, taking that level of energy with this level of inflation going on. Politicians are just looking to put the blame on someone, some sector, saying these guys are causing this energy inflation. It's not us. It's not our decision. Right? We all know that. And I think proof of work is going to be that goat which is going to be slaughtered there. Now, that's not something new. We all know that this is going to happen. But on the other side of the case, we are seeing, okay, this literally is happening and the case is going to be solved soon. But when it is going to be solved, you need to understand inflation on the other end will be super high. Even if you see your XRP going to $20 this wave, if you have the inflation at 100%, that does mean like, okay, you get something like $8 to $10 XRP. Yeah, it is $20, but what happens is your purchasing power is not that high. But some of the assets which respond to the inflation rate will be super cheap. If you want to use that purchasing power, use that really wisely, looking at the economical cycle, the market cycle, and the business cycle. Because if you are going into the stock market, you need to understand the business cycle. If you are entering into different asset class, you need to understand the economical cycle and how that asset works. Fine. Here on XRP, you are looking at this. We broke higher from this short-term pattern. That's actually great, bullish. MACD is showing that we are going to cross to the upside. So if we break this, that's a medium-term trend changing, breaking to the upside. So we have room to the upside to move further. Fine. You now come on to XRP USD on a monthly chart. So on a monthly chart, you are at a long-term support showing that we can bounce. But it's not completely bullish. because you need to bounce and test this 0.5, 0.6 range and break through that. Otherwise, what's happening here is a retest. And if you get rejected there, it's actually bad. Technically speaking, that's bad. Fundamentally, that's the best asset, but technically, how the market is responding to this particular asset, that may not be good. One, it's here, 0.65, 0.7. If you break that, that's great. That's the short-term trend being broken. Fine, medium-term trend being broken. And then you go on to the long-term trend to test that. If you break that and come above this level, now that's super bullish. So we are waiting for that. So if you are here, you're averaging down 0.3, 0.4, and you see the price going to 0.8, 0.9, you can even take some profit if the price is slowing down and showing you it can get rejected. We may come back lower. Now, if it's getting rejected, but getting supported here at 0.55, 0.6, that's like you broke this short-term, medium-term pattern, and you're bouncing from there. Now you need to break this one. Anyway, you need to break that one. If not, that's going to be bad. Now, while you look at the Bitcoin chart and ask like, okay, we felt like, okay, this is topping out, but we told you before, right? This is the wave structure where you have done wave 1, wave 2, and now you're looking for wave 3. If you go back a year, year and a half, we were talking like, okay, and now at that time, Bitcoin was kind of here. But before that, even before that, late 2020, we were saying, okay, Bitcoin is at 20,000, but I think we are going to go to 65, 70, and that can be the top of the market. But a lot of changed in the market, macro environment. Institutions buying big amounts and the average is much higher, 30, 32. So that kind of shows you like, okay, I don't think these institutions are going to go bankrupt. There's going to be a lot of bailout. There's going to be a lot of support for them. So they still have dry powder to buy in and average down. And we are observing that. So that kind of pushes us back to say, okay, this is wave structure. Keep on that. Just follow that. And that shows Bitcoin can do a wave 3 and Bitcoin dominance is dropping. Both of them tied up kind of take you back here. Altcoins breaking higher. Now, if altcoins break higher from this 21-day moving average, now we are looking at a 100% move, close to that. Now, some of the altcoins will move 5x during that time. Some may do just 50%. But the story is the market is going to bounce. And as you start the first half of that market cycle, you are actually going to get 10x. So if you are positioned well in this market, where you are seeing like a lot of coins are differently moving, all of them are slowly binding up, and you're like, okay, let me actually look at this a little bit zoomed out, 7 days. Last 1 week, you see a lot of coins like Matic, Quant, CRV, Uniswap, Aave, all coming slowly back to the upside and grinding higher. This is actually a great stuff because when you actually go on to the return rates to look like, okay, how things changed in last 30 days, you actually see all of these coins. Now, you do look at the trend and ask that question to yourself like, okay, the trend is changing. I understand like these assets are going to perform well or outperform a lot of other coins. And if you're in that coin right now, that's going to be great for you. So you kind of go back, look at everything from day one, considering, okay, last 7 days, last 30 days, last quarter, and then a year. And you're like, okay, I understand this asset is slowly starting to trend back higher. Be sure at least 20% of your portfolio is in such assets. Now, if you have that risk appetite, 50% it should be in those assets which are starting to trend back high. And we've been doing that, right? Regularly updating you guys like which assets are breaking higher, which assets are moving higher, which of them are on the proper trend, which are some of them lately are the support and showing that it may break to the downside. So if you're on that, that is going to be really hard. But if you're on the other coins which are going to trend higher, break higher, that's going to be a good news for you as we get this Fed hike on 27th of this month. So Fed is going to hike something like 75 or 100 basis points this 27th, and then you have 2 inflation announcements coming as we discussed in the last video. I think that narrative is going to play out, and by the time you hit September, October, most likely you may actually have done this wave structure which we are talking about. You may actually have done at least half of that. That means 2 to 3 months is going to be huge. Now, if you are going to get a macro change, then you are going to get delayed. Otherwise, you are going to follow this particular pattern which we have been following from a long time. If you are here and you're receiving value, please do hit that like and subscribe button. That supports the channel a lot. And if you're looking for these kind of updates, if you have portfolio and where you have a lot of different assets and you're confused which of them are bad, which of them are good, where you should be taking profits, because some of these are just breaking higher and we are already in the trade and we feel like, okay, we are positioned well. Now, one of the problem is I'm a little bit early on almost everything. Maybe 15 days, maybe 30 days. But I personally consider like, okay, you enter into a trade, it's range bound now. Great, you can buy more. And then it breaks high. That's fine. Sometimes you have to wait, but your targets are almost all the time hit. So if you are looking for that, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. That's it, guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.